We had one hell of a little pay-per-view tonight, a couple of title changes, and a bloody ass. Let's talk about that. What is up? GoodMicWork back at you as promised. TLC 2016 is in the books. The show just went off the air. I'm actually watching Talking Smack right now. Alexa Bliss is currently on doing an interview. I figured I wouldn't wait until Talking Smack was over. I don't think anything too earth-shattering is going to happen on that. Plus, I want to get my review up right away and let you know what I thought of the show. I thought it was great. I mean, for a pay-per-view that could have easily been a throwaway pay-per-view, it was anything but. I knew that the boys were going to come through. I mean, the way the matches were structured and the matchups and everything, I had no doubt that we were going to have a really just solid, good night of wrestling. That I had no doubt about. It was whether or not the pay-per-view was even necessary. These guys were going to go out there and kill each other for no reason. I was curious what the show was really going to give us storyline-wise, but I think it came through in all aspects tonight. And I was more than pleased with TLC, and especially the effort from some of the workers there, because WWE, they just kill their roster with some of these pay-per-view concepts and these Hell in the Cells and Elimination Chambers and table matches and chairs matches and shit. And just these guys all brutalized each other tonight. And basically every single match had at least one gnarly spot in it where you actually worried for the health of the wrestler. So anyway, let's get into the show here. I'll start right at the bottom. We'll start with the kickoff match. They had just one match on the kickoff show. It was a 10-man clusterfuck tag between Team Positive, as I called them, with the Hype Brothers, or Hype Bros, American Alpha, and Apollo Crews, taking on the Vaudevillains, Ascension, and I think Kurt Hawkins, right? So Team Positive and Team Happy won that match, and there's really not much to say about it. As far as the main card, my predictions of the 6 matches on the main show, I was 4-2. Got 2 matches wrong. We'll start with the opening match, which was the tag team title match with Heath Slater and Rhino defending against Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt. Now, this match I was looking forward to because I wanted to see Randy Orton and Bray destroy these guys, and I was really excited to see Bray get his hands on some hardware finally after being in the WWE for 3 years. I thought this was going to be it. I would have been more than happy with a 2-minute squash here. I love Rhino and Heath Slater, but I think I love Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt even more. And I've really been pleasantly surprised with how much I'm liking Randy Orton in the Wyatt family. So I wanted to see him and Bray go out there and completely dominate and end this match quickly. Now, it didn't go 2 minutes, but it also didn't go that long either. They made relatively quick work of Rhino and Slater. I think it was, did Bray get Sister Abigail on Heath? Is that how it ended? And they got the 3 count? And Luke Harper was instrumental in that as well. He interfered a couple of times in the match, and after Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt won, they took the belts, both tag team title belts, and put it on the shoulders of Luke Harper, almost as a reward. And now you have to wonder if they're going to do the Freebird rule with these 3 guys. Is Luke Harper going to be able to defend the tag team title? I mean, if Randy Orton needs to come in and out or take some time off or isn't going to be on the road as much, having Luke Harper fill in could work just fine. So I'm really happy and pleased with what I've been seeing with Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, and I hope they completely dominate SmackDown. I want to see them go on a tear. I'd like to see one of them add a singles belt to their collection to go with the tag team titles. Like, I want to see them just decimate the SmackDown roster. I'm into it. So I hope to see more good things from Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. Congrats to Bray on winning his first belt, and couldn't be happier with the outcome in that match. I predicted that one right. Nikki Bella took on Carmella in the second match. This was the no DQ match. This was okay. I mean, it was probably the least exciting match of the night, but still had a couple of moments. Nikki won, basically just sprayed Carmella to shit with a fire extinguisher, and then ended up just pinning her. And after the match, they just moved right on from it. Carmella got on the mic and told Nikki that, hey, I hope you feel satisfied now that you got your revenge on me from Survivor Series. The problem is I wasn't the one that attacked you. It was Natalya. Big fucking surprise, and the announcers are all selling it like, what, Natalya? What a bombshell. Mauro Ranallo kept saying, what a bombshell Carmella has dropped. I'm like, well, if you didn't see that coming, then you're fucking blind. So Natalya apparently was the one that attacked Nikki at Survivor Series, knocking her out of the match, which we fucking knew that. So anyway, looks like Nikki will move on to a feud with Natalya, and Carmella will move on to something else. Dolph Ziggler and The Miz was the third match of the night. This one I got wrong. I predicted Dolph on a whim, and I thought that if I was right, I would look like a fucking genius. But I was wrong. The match, however, was great. Dolph Ziggler and The Miz are developing one hell of a little rivalry, and, when they look back on their careers, it's going to be really instrumental. I mean, they'll be a part of each other's Hall of Fame DVDs when and if that ever happens, that's for sure. So it's good for them. They seem to be friends. They're from the same city. It probably makes them feel good to work with each other, and they both sell well for each other. I mean, Dolph went out there and put on one hell of a performance in a losing effort, and so did The Miz. I mean, they had a lot of good spots and a lot of near falls. Both guys had their hands and fingertips on the belt multiple times. Miz even got the ladder kicked out from underneath him, and he was hanging from the apparatus, which is a spot that they do frequently now in ladder matches. But these two guys impressed the hell out of me, and how about The Miz, huh? I mean, who would have thought 5 years ago everybody wanted to see this guy dead? Even as recent as 3 years ago, I threw up every time I saw his fucking face. And he kept working, and he did every single thing he was told, and even when they were giving him belts that he didn't deserve, it's nice to see him now at a point in his career where he deserves everything he's earning, and that Intercontinental title victory tonight was more than earned. What a great match by both guys. The Miz basically wins with a couple of nut shots. And Dolph Ziggler, I thought he was going to win the Intercontinental title much like Daniel Bryan did, who I think the last two guys in that WrestleMania ladder match was Dolph and Daniel. And Daniel just hit him with a few headbutts, and Dolph eventually fell off the ladders, and Bryan grabbed the IC belts. They kind of did that same finish with Dolph headbutting The Miz off the ladder, although he was able to recover, scurry up the ladder. They basically had two ladders set up side by side, so Dolph's legs were spread, and The Miz kicked him twice and was able to retrieve the belt. So yeah, he resorted to a nut shot, but it's not against the rules, and technically, The Miz won that match clean, so good for him. They are still building this situation and this issue between him and Daniel Bryan, and what I don't like about this is if Daniel Bryan does not wind up getting back in the ring, how do you have a payoff here? What is the point of The Miz verbally shitting on Daniel Bryan every chance he gets if Daniel Bryan never gets his comeuppance? So I'm really wondering and just holding out hope that maybe WWE has worked something out with Daniel Bryan or his doctors that maybe he can come back for one match. Or maybe he's been cleared and WWE is lightening up on it and they're going to let Bryan return, but they're not going to tell anybody about it until next year. I doubt that's the case. They've made it very clear that they don't want Daniel Bryan wrestling. But, you know, the fans kind of want it. If you feel like Daniel Bryan, if anybody deserves closure, it's him. He's such a nice guy, and what happened to him sucked so bad, especially when he was launched in such a huge way, winning the titles like that at WrestleMania 30 and the whole thing being derailed. You know, for him to come back and maybe just have one more match or one more great moment where he can beat The Miz, his longtime rival and the guy that's been bad-mouthing him for a better part of a year, and get him in the ring and completely rip him limb from limb, I think would be nice for the fans to see, and it would be really cool if WWE could work something out. I did read a tweet from Salamonster tonight. Apparently on his latest podcast, one of his callers had pitched an idea for Daniel Bryan to beat The Miz in 18 seconds at WrestleMania, just like Daniel Bryan lost in the same way to Sheamus. Maybe Miz goes in for a kiss on Maurice, and Daniel Bryan hits him with the running knees and pins him within the same amount of time that Sheamus beat him, and that would really be coming full circle, since it was that loss to Sheamus at WrestleMania 28 that really started the whole Yes movement and the fan support of Daniel Bryan to begin with. So that's a fabulous idea. So whatever they wind up doing, I just hope Daniel Bryan can physically even the odds with The Miz. Otherwise, I don't see the point of what they're doing between the two of them. So we'll have to see what this means for Dolph Ziggler now. I have no idea if he's going to move on. I mentioned something a while back that maybe he snaps and goes crazy and rejoins the Spirit Squad or something like that. Otherwise, Dolph is kind of done with The Miz. I mean, this was kind of the end of the feud. This was the blow-off, so he won't be getting an Intercontinental title shot again as long as The Miz is champion. So whatever they wind up doing with Dolph, I just hope that it doesn't suck and they don't waste him, because I still like Dolph. I mean, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings on Dolph, but I'm still a fan of his, so I hope he's not reduced to kickoff matches and bottom of the card type of stuff from here on out. Baron Corbin and Kalisto in a chairs match turned out to be 10 times better than we all thought. One thing I didn't like about this pay-per-view is all the matches were really the same fucking match. I mean, you have a tables match, and you have a chairs match, and you have a ladder match. Well, in all of those matches, the other weapons are also legal, so really, technically, every match is a TLC match, if you think about it. So I didn't like the way they were labeling these matches. It's a chairs match. Well, they can pull out a ladder or table if they want to. There's no rule against it, so Corbin and Kalisto used mostly chairs in this, a lot of brutal spots with the chair. Kalisto put up a much better fight than I thought he would. I kind of thought Corbin would pretty much annihilate him, which he did, but Kalisto still put up a really good fight, which was good to see. And the match was exciting, and the crowd was relatively dead for most of the show, but they seemed to be pretty into this match, and there was a lot of good spots and good moments and really brutal chair shots in this match. The finish saw Baron Corbin nailing Kalisto with the end of days on basically a mattress that he made out of chairs. Just spread him out and laid him in the center of the ring and nailed Kalisto with that. and got the pin and ended that match. So that match was pretty brutal and pretty decent. And another match that I predicted wrong. I kind of got the title matches wrong here. I predicted Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch incorrectly as well. Alexa is your new WWE SmackDown Women's Champion. She beat Becky Lynch in the tables match. I guess kind of like Sheamus beat John Cena. Isn't that how he won his first WWE title? When he was only in the company for a couple of months, he threw John Cena through the table. Am I remembering that right? Kind of reminds me of that. So at first, they didn't seem like they were totally in sync. A few botches, and it was a little bit sloppy with Alexa and Becky, but it picked up and it wound up okay. And the finish saw Alexa kind of tossing Becky through the table that was set up on the outside of the ring, and she threw her off the apron into it and won the women's title. So good for Alexa. I didn't see that coming. I kind of thought Becky should hang on to it for a little while and at least take it into 2017. They gave it to Alexa. She's new. She was only in NXT just a matter of a few months ago, and now she's women's champion. So good for her. I saw a tweet and a picture of her and Triple H, and she's one of his projects, I guess, and I'm happy for her. So we'll have to see where they go from here. Main event, AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose. This was insane. This match was so fucking good. At first, I was thinking Dolph and The Miz were going to have match of the night. It was going to be really hard to top that. Well, Dean and AJ did. I think that they did. The ending, I will say, was predictable. However, some of the stuff they did in the match was unreal. Just to name a few. I mean, there's been so many. Just to name a few. The crazy table ladder spot on the outside of the ring. Dean sets up the ladder on top of like the Spanish announce table, and he climbs to the top of that and delivers an elbow drop to AJ, who I think is on the regular SmackDown announce table. That was pretty sick. He also did kind of like the suplex flip powerbomb type of move on AJ Styles into a bunch of chairs that were set up. And AJ took a nasty, sick bump right through him. The crowd just lost their minds. And when AJ ended up rolling over after taking the bump, you noticed that he had a giant rip on the ass of his tights. Very unfortunate. And his ass was bleeding. So basically on the way down, he cut his ass on one of the chairs and it ripped his tights. And his ass was hanging out a little bit. And that's kind of a new one. I mean, I know some of the girls have had a wardrobe malfunction here or there, but for the men to do it and to rip, a hole in their tights, if it would have been a little bit more over to the right, they might have had to stop something or sent out a pair of short trunks for him to put on over him. I would have liked to know how they would have handled things if AJ's rip would have been much bigger, and his ass or his balls were hanging out or something like that. But looked pretty gross. I mean, he had a pretty big gash on his butt there. From taking that bump. So that was crazy. And then the spot of the match, spot of the night, I think, was the 450 splash off the top rope onto Dean Ambrose, who's on a table on the outside of the ring. Unfucking believable. And AJ did this after absorbing all that punishment and with the big hole in his tights and in his ass. So kudos to AJ for performing on such an insane level. And it was awesome. I mean, my God. The finish, though, it's kind of what we predicted. I know I mentioned it in the predictions video that I wouldn't be surprised if they went in this direction. James Ellsworth, you knew, was going to have to get involved in this thing, and he was going to have to be instrumental in the finish. That was a given. AJ Styles even dared him on SmackDown to show up at TLC, so Ellsworth showing up was a 100% guarantee, and you just had to wonder if he was going to cost Dean Ambrose the title intentionally or unintentionally. And it was intentionally. Dean Ambrose basically has the match won. He disposes of AJ Styles. He's on the outside of the ring. He's unable to get back in time. Dean is already on the top of the ladder to grab the belt, and then in comes Ellsworth, who had already been beaten up by AJ earlier, and he grabs the ladder and tips it over, and Dean goes over the top rope through two tables, allowing AJ plenty of time to recover and descend the ladder and retrieve the WWE title belt, which means he retains, which I'm happy with because I don't want AJ to drop the belt right now. But the one problem I have with this is, why did Ellsworth turn heel after everything that's gone on with him and AJ Styles, after AJ just pummeling him and destroying him? Even though he's 0-3 against him, he's really been just beating the hell out of Ellsworth every time he sees him. Why would Ellsworth turn heel? What's the motivation there? So I guess they could be talking about that on Talking Smack. I should click back over to that. The Miz is on there now, so I don't know if they've gotten to... Oh, he's yelling at Daniel Bryan. You know what? Hey, this is a first for my commentaries. What about a little live look in here? Let me turn up the volume and see what the Miz is talking about.
Remember, each one of these notches means something.
Notches.
This day 19 right here, this 19th notch, is a notch of victory. So I'll tell you what, Daniel, maybe I should give you a participation award for being the general manager, because that's all you do. You participate. You sit there and go, oh, well, I'm not doing that good of a job. I really don't know what I'm doing, but maybe you should figure out what to do.
Dude, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, snap.
I don't know what I'm doing, but guess what? Almost every single one of your Intercontinental Championship reigns, all right, somebody interfered on your behalf.
Interfered on my match.
Yeah.
You know what? You're talking about James
I have the
Ellsworth.
same
You are in a
TLC
TLC match. You're in a TLC match. You have to expect.
Oh, it looks like they might be going off the air like this.
She literally applauded me today.
Yeah, they did. Wow. That was good timing, huh? I just thought to myself, I better click over and see what's going on Talking Smack, and The Miz was giving it to Daniel Bryan. So, what the hell was I talking about? The main event, right? Getting back to Ellsworth and AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose and everything. So we'll have to see what Ellsworth's explanation is for turning on Dean Ambrose and why the hell he would align himself with AJ Styles. He's going to be a heel now, which is fine. I felt like the whole thing with him was kind of running its course anyway, but I think I would have rather seen what I suggested in my predictions video was the club interfering. You know, AJ owes Dean one for the Survivor Series, for the way that the Shield reunited for one night only to give AJ the powerbomb. I think the club should have returned and reunited for one night only to beat the hell out of Dean Ambrose as payback. I thought that would have been a great finish. The Undertaker showing up would have been a great finish. Well, maybe after the match, maybe after AJ wins, you know, you hear the gong and the Undertaker kind of challenges AJ Styles. That is a match I'm really kind of hoping they do at the Royal Rumble. It's a match I really want to see. And tonight would have been a good night to plant the seed for that. But they didn't. They just had Ellsworth turn heel, and AJ still champ, and now Ambrose is going to be out for blood, I'm guessing. I'm not sure if he's going to get another title shot at this point, or if he's just going to set his sights on James Ellsworth, and what the alliance with AJ and Ellsworth is even going to be now. I mean, is Ellsworth just going to be his lackey? You know, is he going to be abused by AJ, or does AJ, you know, actually like this guy? We'll have to wait and see, I guess. So anyway, that's it for me. I just wanted to give you some quick initial reaction comments to the pay-per-view. I don't have too much time tonight to do a very, very long commentary, but I'll be up here, as usual, probably late Wednesday night, early on Thursday, to review both Raw and SmackDown, and that'll be my normal routine between now and the end of the year. And then, of course, for the end of the year is going to be the Q&A, the final video of the year. Send all your questions to goodmicwork@gmail.com if you would like to participate in that. And as soon as we cross over into 2017, it will be episode 400 time, which I am also working on. So lots coming to the channel here in the next several weeks. One thing you guys can do to help me out here, I would appreciate it. If you don't normally like my videos or share them or anything like that, if you could do that, it would be a big help. Like them on social media as much as you can as well, and just share everything if you're a fan of mine as much as you can. YouTube has been experiencing some problems or something. I don't know what's going on, but my subscribers have completely stalled out. In the last 2 months, I virtually gained no subscribers. You know, where most of the time I can gain, you know, 500 to 700 subscribers in that amount of time. I've gained virtually zero, and my views have gone down, you know, what feels like by about 30% as well. So a lot of people are complaining about this. I've been hearing it a lot from other YouTubers and just chatter generally around that something's going on. So if you guys want to help out, you can help me out by just sharing and liking and commenting and doing as much as you can to help get my name out there. I would definitely appreciate it. So anyway, you guys have a great rest of your night. Let me know what you thought of TLC, what your opinions are. I think we can all agree it was a good show. I'd be very surprised to hear any of you shit on this show. I highly doubt that will happen. But give me some of your opinions overall on some of the matches we saw, some of the finishes, and where you think we might go in the future. I will catch you guys in a couple of days. Until next time, peace.